guys, this is a week later. The windows were working okay, but yesterday they stopped working altogether. Same problem, and no matter if I switch the ignition on, switch the ignition off, no matter what I do, the switches don't work. So one thing I've noticed is that the power going to the windows is low, and I did suspect this because of the behavior of the relay. It was like it wasn't getting enough power. But if I connected 12 volts to the ground, I'm only getting 1.6 volts to it, and it should be 12. I was getting 12 earlier. I don't know what's happening. If I connect it to here, get a good ground on the body, I'm getting the same 2 volts. So it's not a ground issue, because if I ground it directly to the car, I'm still getting the same voltage. So going into the fuse box, it says here electronic parts, which according to the Haynes manual is the one that does the windows. So I'm just going to try and change this. I have checked it before, so I'm just going to put a different fuse in it and see if that makes any difference at all. I don't have 7.5, so I'm going to put a 5 amp fuse in it, which is the orange one. And something is changing in there. I can feel there's a relay clicking when I put that in. So I'm going to see if I can identify which relay it is. I feel sure that there's a relay behind this panel. So there's one thing I can say, that this is getting 12 volts here. It sounds like a very solid click. But I can check that with a multimeter. Let me just pull out the fuse. I'll stick the positive into one side of the fuse and the other on a known good earth, which is the window switch. And I'm getting nothing on that side. If I go to the other side, and I'm getting 11.9 volts at the fuse. So that isn't a problem. So my issue is between this fuse and the window, and the only thing there is that relay that's clicking on and the circuit breaker. But the circuit breaker also controls the electric central locking, and I've got 0 problems with the central locking. And when I was pushing the power window before, it was reducing the voltage also, and it's still doing that, but the central locking still works, so I've not got a problem with that. Okay guys, so going from the voltage drop, there's some problem with the cable. This cable here, the red and the white, which is supplying the power, and the relay. So to test that hypothesis, run a cable from here to the positive on the battery, and the windows work as normal, nice and strong, even with the power, even with the ignition off. So the problem, like I said, that confirms the hypothesis that there's a problem between this cable and the relay. Okay guys, let's have a quick look at the wiring diagram so you can see why I'm making all these statements. So this is the Haynes manual. It is a Bible if you want to maintain your own car. So at the back it gives you the wiring diagrams for the cars. So we've got the power sunroof wiring diagram here, we've got the central locking here, and we've got the power windows here. So I've said that the central locking has no problem, but we have a problem with the sunroof and the power windows. So let's just have a quick look at the central locking first of all. So this is the main fuse box in the engine. We'll follow this out to number 7, which is the fuse block ignition relay. This is the fuse box in the car. This has power going from here to 126. 126 is the key switch, and then it goes into 135, which is a super lock unit. So it's not this one. This has got nothing to do with it. However, we've got this one here, 40 amp fuse, which goes to 111, which is the circuit breaker, which then goes into the super lock unit 135. So let's see if we've got any commonalities between the central locking circuit, the power window circuit, and the power sunroof circuit. So if we follow this power windows, we can see that we've also got 1 here on the power window circuit, and 1 is the same circuit breaker for the central locking and the power window. So power window, central locking share the same circuit breaker. Let's have a look at the power sunroof, and we can see that the power sunroof also uses the circuit breaker. So that's the commonality, the circuit breaker between the three. However, we've got no issues at all with the central locking, so we can eliminate the circuit breaker as being an issue. So what happens after the circuit breaker? On this, nothing. It goes to the ECU for the central locking. But on the power windows, it goes from 111 to 112. 112 is the power window relay. So do we have any commonalities between the power window and the power sunroof? And the answer is yes. From the main relay, from the circuit breaker, sorry, it also goes into 112, which is the power window relay. So the power sunroof and the power windows both share the same power relay. So in the video, I have put the I ran that cable from the battery directly to the window switch, and we had 0 problems when this was getting 12, when I fed 12 volts directly to this cable here. The windows were working perfectly, and the sunroof was also working perfectly when I ran 12 volts to this cable. So the problem is between this cable and the circuit breaker. Something is breaking down between these two things. And likewise here, the only thing is the power window switch. When we run 12 volts to this, everything works okay. We can rule out the circuit breaker 112 because the central locking doesn't have a problem. Hopefully that makes sense. Back to the video. I'm going to have to look at the power window relay, and the relay unfortunately is behind this fuse box. So I'm going to have to take off this plastic cover underneath the steering wheel to get better access to the fuse box. That's not too bad, you know. Could have been a lot worse. So the cable we're looking for is red and white. I don't really see any relays connected to the back of this, which is surprising. Get the car keys, because I hear a clicking for the electric window relay. So I want to see if it's actually that blue relay there. So to do that, I'm going to need to be able to pull out the power window fuse, feel it, and I don't think it is a relay, but there is another one right next to it behind this black thing. I can't tell which is which, so I'm going to unplug them one by one and see if that relay stops clicking. So that's the one removed, and see if it still clicks. It does, so that is not it. Try not to fucking pull everything else out with it. And then we'll see if the clicking has stopped. No, so it ain't either of these. It's a total rat's nest in there. I mean, even if I could find it, I'm not sure I'd be able to do anything. But I think it could be down here. Okay guys, so I've put this back up now, because I don't think there's anything I can do with it, even if there's an issue there. I can see that there's a couple of relays in here, I'll just do this test just to see if they're clicking with this, because it was behind the kick panel. Oh, okay. So the central locking relay is this blue one. So this will probably slide up. Actually, I can see the power cables here for it. So it should be white and blue. Okay, so this is the white and blue that comes from up here, I think, from that circuit breaker. That black thing is actually, the relay is this. So it goes in on the white and the blue, and it comes out on the white and the red, which is the cable that goes to the sunroof and to the thing. If I could pull this off. But where does it clamp on the other side? Does it clamp on the other side? No, it doesn't clamp on the other side. So I'll undo these two. While I'm here, I'll just re-secure the fuse box to get access at the relay behind it. It gives me great access to this. I don't know if you can see this, guys. I'm going to slide this fucker off here. This might need a bit of encouragement. So it's got a metal tab on it. Should slide out. Oh, and I can see the problem, guys. Here we go. This is why we have the problem. It's not into the connector properly, and it's corroded. This is why we have the bad connector there. So let's just get it off here. I'm tempted to see if I can just push these terminals out. You can get these harnesses off eBay. Basically, it's just ready to rock and roll. You just need to solder the ends, crimp the ends, and they will plug into a standard relay. So let's just see if they will plug into this relay. They may not. You can see it's got a frame around the relay, so it's not allowing the black one to go in. If I could get the crimp out of this, then maybe I can use the crimp from this connector and just insert it, and Bob's your uncle, you know. I think, to be fair, I'm just going to cut them off, guys. I'm just going to cut them off and use this relay just to check that the two relays are the same. So you've got here, it says that 8586 is the trigger. So 8586 is the trigger on this also, and 3087 we need, and we've got 3087 on this. The bottom, it's labeled also. I don't know if you can see inside it. So you've got 85, 86 are the ones on the left and the right. And it's the same as this. They're the other way around, but 85, 86 doesn't matter. They'll work both ways. And we've got 87 on the top, and we've got 30 at the bottom. So it's the same relay. So just check the diagrams on the relay, and then just check the pin numbers as well, that they correspond to each other. So I think I'm just going to get pliers, guys, and I'm going to cut these off. I'm not going to worry about a crimping or soldering or anything. I've got something which I think will do the job better than that. It is, guys. So these are the connectors I'm going to use. Honest to God, I don't know what I did without these. There's two types. This one is the older type. I don't really like these because they're bigger. They're fatter than the newer type. You can see, you know, there's not a lot in it, but if you can get something smaller that does the same job, why not have it? And also the clips on these are bigger, so they're not so tough on the fingers. You know, these are quite thin. Dig into your fingers a little bit. These are nice and fat. These are rated, I think, to something like 80 amps. 80 amps, 40 amps, don't quote me on that. But they're fantastic. They hold the cables really, really strongly. As strong as any crimp, I think. and you just clip them on. So enough of me waffling. So I'm now going to cut off the... I did have 4 of these. Where the fuck are they now? Forgive my lack of symmetry. I'm going to use 3 of these and this one. I don't know what happened to the other one, but they're all equally good. So I'm just going to do these one by one. So first of all, we've got the power cable out. I'm going to strip that. It's quite a thick power cable, so I have to come at it from... First of all, actually, let me cut the end of it off. There. I want to get back to good metal. The thing with these, you do have to strip quite a lot of cable off it to get it into the mechanism properly. So I'll start there, and then I'll come at it from a couple of different angles. And these fucking lifesaver also. So massive cable on this, and I don't think that's going to be enough. So literally you've got to open them up. You literally just put them on the cable. Put it inside and then clip it, but I'm gonna have to cut a bit more off this, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut a bit more. Number 30 is, actually I need to take it off. Number 30 is going to be the bottom one. It's the one that's not at an angle. So these come pre-stripped, if you like. I don't need so much, so I'm just going to fold it back on itself and then slot it in here next to the other one, and then that's it. Basically that's it, guys. It's super solid, it's not going anywhere. Just make sure that the insulation is shielded. It's inside the connector, which it is. That ain't going anywhere. Just rotate it onto the cable. I find that helps a little bit. As long as it's in. So all that is super solid now, and it should be working as it is. So let's just test it. Hopefully nothing goes up in smoke. Turn the ignition on. We'll test the sunroof first of all. Superb. Check the windows. Fantastic. Passenger side's not working because I haven't plugged it in yet. So that is basically it. All this is covered now. I don't need to put any electrical tape over this except for this one here, which I'm not using. So I could cut it off completely, but I like to keep my options open. Sprayed it down with a bit of WD-40, took the clip that came on the relay, took that off so I can use the original car's clamp, fix it back in, and we're good to go. So everything put back together. Now we just need to clean up the mess, and job's a good one. I'm feeling good right now, don't need you to call me again. I'm feeling like this dream ain't no